Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 26 of the Dragon Radar podcast with your hosts Heeroh and Ajoten. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well. Once again here for a Dragon Ball discussion. How
Yeah.
yourself?
Me too, I'm ready to go. So let's get started with Roshi's rant.
Let's go.
This is Roshi's Rant.
This is Roshi's rant, the first segment of the podcast where we deep dive into a particular topic regarding Dragon Ball. And this week we're talking about Future Gohan, and more specifically, what if he came back to the present? Does that make sense? Instead of Trunks during the Android saga. So, this is interesting. And this topic is based on the new Super Dragon Ball Heroes episode, because Future Gohan is the one that survived the androids in this new episode. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we just take that idea and then change it to be what would happen if he came back instead of Trunks? What if he was the survivor?
In the less crazy version of the show.
Yeah. Because, to be honest, that would change a hell of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Because we've talked about Trunks in that arc before, and he's such a prominent figure in that arc to start.
Yeah.
And then he just becomes such a nothing towards the end of the Cell arc, and it's such a shame. He literally just gets bodied at the end, literally bodied.
Yeah. Because, this version of Trunks that does appear in the Cell arc is my favorite Trunks, I guess. Trunks is one of my favorite characters, and loved him in the Cell arc, and loved him even more in the Goku Black arc. I just think he's great. But the Cell arc especially, he was just so cool. Especially coming out of the hyperbolic time chamber with the long pink hair. Incredible stuff. But that wouldn't happen. We wouldn't have a future Trunks character at all in the show, because it would have been replaced by Gohan with one arm. And yeah, I think the first thing that comes to mind that would change the most for me is, would Kid Gohan then still be the one to be the main? The one who defeats Cell?
I think the interesting thing to me is they don't really talk much about one-arm Gohan's potential. Actually, also make a side note, one-arm Gohan is one of my favorite characters. So it's funny if your future character is one of your favorite characters. One of my favorite characters is this future character.
Yeah.
So either way, we win.
Even though that Gohan has hardly actually done anything, if you think about it, in the show.
Cool, yeah, but he's just such a cool character. The way they designed him and everything, I just think I very much like him.
Should we start from the start, I guess, and go through the story in order?
Yeah, I think I think the important thing is to make sure that people know what happened to one-arm Gohan.
Yeah,
is the most important thing is because he didn't spend a lot of time around, really, did he? His most important factor really is he's responsible for Trunks' transformation.
Yeah, really.
He trained Trunks back in the future. He was basically his Mr. Piccolo.
Yeah.
Protected Trunks from the androids. But when Trunks wanted to help fight the androids with Gohan knocked him out and went to fight him one-on-one. And I would say Gohan at the time of his death was equivalent to one of the androids.
Ooh, potentially, yeah.
Because he was fighting. He went to fight them and he attacked 18, and I would say he was holding his own. But then, because we reacted to the video, and I would say he was holding his own, but the second the two of them paired up, and because they fight so well in sync, it was over for Gohan immediately. Yeah. And I mean, we reacted to that video, and he was done for.
Yeah.
But I would say he was so strong that I would say he was. So he's a hell of a fighter at the time of his death. So if he'd come to the future at that time, he was so much stronger than Super Saiyan Trunks.
Yeah.
It appeared to kill Mega Frieza.
Mm.
Like he would have dwarfed that. I would say that Trunks. So we already would have had a stronger fight if it appeared. I would say.
Yeah, so let's start when Trunks appeared. So I think it would have stayed the same. Gohan would have appeared instead of Trunks. He would have just blasted Frieza away instantly. Pretty similar, just without a sword. He would have spoke to Goku, which would have been interesting, and still gave him the heart medicine, so that he lived instead of dying from heart disease or whatever. I think that bit would have stayed the same. And then this is when the story would have changed because, the whole...
They would have been able to hide it.
What do you mean?
Well, it was easy for them to hide Trunks because they have no idea who he is. He looks nothing like him or anything like that. Gohan, he obviously has a lot of resemblance and everything like that. Like, it would have probably been a lot harder to hide.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, it didn't take long for Trunks to really introduce himself. To be honest, I think Gohan, it kind of would have just been instant. I don't think they would have needed to hide who he was.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But I think the main difference is a lot of the arc with Trunks was him kind of building a relationship with Vegeta, I guess. And that was it. Whereas Goku and Kid Gohan were kind of training together. That would have been interrupted because Future Gohan would now be here instead. So Vegeta would kind of be on his own, which is normal, I guess, but he wouldn't have had a training partner. And Goku and the two Gohans would have then been together.
I think that's the thing. Who would have trained with who? Would Goku have even focused on Kid Gohan?
I don't think he would have. Personally, I don't think so, because he would have seen this new Gohan, he would have been told about the threat, and if you compare the two Gohans at that point, Future Gohan and Kid Gohan, obviously, even with one arm, Future Gohan is a lot stronger than Kid Gohan at the time, and because Gohan knows about the threat of the androids, I want to say that Goku and Future Gohan would have just went into the time chamber together, and Kid Gohan would have been left out.
I mean, there's no reason he wouldn't have the same potential.
Yeah.
Like innate potential. I don't see why he wouldn't. So he would still have the same locked away. So he's already a stronger fighter. He already has the same innate potential. So he's already got much better martial training because he's a better fighter. It just makes more sense to refine a better fighter and bring out... It would be so much easier. It might even be possible to bring out Super Saiyan 2.
Yeah. Maybe.
Just by training.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a lot of Super Saiyan is dealt through raw emotion, but you never know.
I mean, his emotion was there, I guess. His entire family line had died. It's just him, Trunks, and Bulma, and that's it in his future. So, yeah.
I mean, to be honest, he was already a Super Saiyan beforehand, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He might have reached 2 when he found dead Trunks.
Yeah, maybe.
So he might have already even been a 2 before he came back to the past.
It depends how we're playing this off. Does he go back before, like if we switch roles and Trunks dies instead? Or do we do it when they're all together and Gohan says, look, our best bet is to try and get some help. I'm going to go back before anything happens. Any more damage is happening, I guess. And he just jumps in then. The Trunks and Bulma kind of left by themselves. Or is it after Trunks dies to the androids that he goes back?
I think I would look at it as in you just trade places with them. I think that would be the easiest way to look at it, is you just trade places.
Yeah.
I think fair is fair, is someone has to go. And I think Trunks would be the one, and that's why he would go.
Okay, well, in that case, I think we've got to say that he doesn't hit Super Saiyan 2 at that point, because if he did, he probably would have wiped out the androids. Because then he just
cell, basically.
Like, he would have wiped out the androids in his future, and then he wouldn't have needed to go back anyway.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And I I think he would literally, like, Kid Gohan would be left by the wayside, but I think that would be to their detriment, very much so, because then Gohan wouldn't hang about afterwards. He would go back, like, because he goes back to his own Future Trunks, then goes back to his own timeline.
Yeah.
And then we have this massive gap of a missing hero. Like, the end of Z, it's basically Goku says, I'm not going to come back when he dies.
Yeah.
I mean, he may not die because you may have this better fighter, but let's say for some reason he did die, he would have to come back. He wouldn't have a choice because they wouldn't have a replacement.
I think the thing is, during the points where the androids were around and Cell was trying to hunt them down to absorb them, whereas Trunks was actively trying to kill them, I guess, whilst battling with Vegeta, where Vegeta wanted them to be absorbed, Gohan would have been a lot more ruthless because he was older. He was more battle ready, I guess. Battle tuned. He had been in more fights. Yeah, he would have been stronger. And also, he wouldn't have had to deal with Vegeta bickering all the time. He would have just been like, no. And then just killed them. I think Gohan,
I think he's a lot stronger than Vegeta.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And he wouldn't have tried to hide it either, like Trunks was trying to do, just to not hurt Vegeta's pride. He would have been saying, look, I'm the strongest one here. We're taking these out now. And Gohan would have probably just killed both androids after a year in the hyperbolic time chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely, like, because in the end, Trunks did flex on Vegeta. He blasted him away to try and stop him. So he was perfectly capable of doing it. So Gohan would be able to do that no problem.
Yeah.
Because I think Gohan would be much stronger than Future Trunks. And so I think he'd be very easily able to do that. So I think he would literally tear 18 or 17 apart.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
100%.
I think at best you would get semi-perfect Cell. And if Vegeta can deal with semi-perfect Cell, this Gohan
definitely
could do it no problem.
Yeah. Or even, let's say for some reason, Cell does manage to still absorb both androids. He turns into perfect Cell. I think at this point, if Gohan still hasn't hit Super Saiyan 2 within the hyperbolic time chamber, the fight would still change. He would be the one probably jumping in first, like Goku wouldn't have went in and everyone else wouldn't have tried to take out Cell first. Like what plays out, Gohan would have been like, I'm the strongest one here, I'm just going to do it. Because, future Gohan, he wasn't scared of anything. He was constantly training, which is not, it's what a lot of Gohan fans want. A lot of Gohan fans want a constantly training Gohan, and this is that.
It's a very dark Gohan, yeah.
Yeah. So he would have jumped in first, thinking he is the strongest, and he would have went toe-to-toe with Cell. And the fight would have been a lot different because maybe he wouldn't have hit that rage point to unleash Super Saiyan 2 because he isn't witnessing people die. He wouldn't have built up this relationship with Android 16 somewhat. So even if 16 did get crushed the same way, I don't think it would have really had the same effect on him.
I think he might have reached rage potentially a different way, through anger rather than pain. Like, if he managed to remember everything that's happened to reach this point, like he suffered a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he's obviously everything that's happened in his past. And then he's still gotten to this point and he still failed by letting everybody get absorbed. And he knows that if this happens, he's let this happen. He's came all the way back. He came all the way past to prevent this. He's allowed this to happen still. He could still go, because if he starts to lose against Perfect Cell, he's failed in everything he's done to come back to the past. And now he's going to allow what's happening in his timeline to happen here. Because he's allowed people to get absorbed. And so he's going to let it all happen all over again. And he's got people like Trunks who's died. well, now his father's going to die all over again. So he could still hit the rage point. I don't say it would be unreasonable to happen. I think there would just have to be a particular trigger point in the story for that to happen, for him to realize that.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Typically in Dragon Ball, there's a speech or something like that, a mocking speech or something that triggers it.
I think I've got a way that they could have done it. Maybe the same thing happens where Gohan thinks he's defeated Cell by blowing him up or whatever, but that doesn't actually happen the first time round because Cell just comes back. So yeah, that the same point happens. They think Cell's gone because he's been blasted away, and then he appears from the sky, does his death laser beam, but obviously since Trunks isn't there, instead it hits Piccolo. And Piccolo goes down. He's gone. And yeah, that is what triggers Gohan go all out, potentially.
Because he has to watch him die again.
Yeah.
Because, Goku, I don't think would go down that easily. I don't think it goes like... there's not a Trunks for it to go down.
And
no one else is going to have emotional impact for him.
Yeah.
Like, he's already lost Trunks. Trunks doesn't exist in this timeline. There's nobody else that has that risk, that emotional connection for him.
Because
I'd say Goku and Piccolo.
Yeah, I was thinking Goku, but if that was to happen, then no one could teleport Cell to King Kai's planet, so Cell would have just self-destructed and blew up Earth. So for the story to still kind of play out the same, it couldn't be Goku, and that leaves Piccolo. But also, if it is Piccolo, then that means that there's no Dragon Balls to bring anyone back. So it's like, who is the other option? And I just thought, what if he kills Baby Gohan, Teen Gohan? Because Teen Gohan's there, he's watching this whole fight, he's scared or whatever, he doesn't want to fight, like, is canon, technically, that Gohan doesn't want to fight, he just hasn't been in the time chamber this time around, so he's even weaker. What if Cell comes back and goes pew, and Teen Gohan goes down? Would that trigger Future Gohan to get angry? Maybe.
Yeah. No, I would 100% see that happening because he literally sees his future disappearing. Technically,
yeah.
It's a literal removal of his future. He's came to this timeline and watched like a literal kid's future disappear. Yeah. Basically, his innocence. He's watched his innocence die again. Because he's just dark hardened. He's dead inside, basically. Yeah. This Gohan we've seen, like we said, he's this battle hardened thing. He's basically got nothing to live for.
They would have had a lot of interactions in this version as well, like between Future Gohan and Kid Gohan.
Yeah, I think it would have been really cool. Whereas there's been nothing to this kid is just he's had no training whatsoever because I don't think he would have. I think he would have had I think he would have been training with Piccolo. I think.
Yeah, but them two together probably wouldn't have went in the time chamber because they only had time for two sets of people to go in, which is why.
It would have been basic training, but they still would have been doing something.
Yeah.
But he still would have been like wearing a gi and he would have been doing very basic. That's why he would have been scared because he wouldn't be ready to fight. Like he would have been like if Cell Jr. went up against him, he would have been tore apart.
Yeah.
Or he would have been hurt. So he'd be standing there scared, battered, and everything like that. So he just watches innocence die again, basically. I think that would be enough. And plus, I think it will remind him of Kid Trunks getting killed.
Oh, yeah. Another one, potentially, yeah. That could have been a trigger. Especially if they do some sort of...
same age, roughly, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think Trunks is slightly older in this.
Yeah, but I'm roughly the same age.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that could work. So let's say everything did play out. Future Gohan does kill Cell instead, and then goes back to the future. There's a lot of changes that happen because of this. So first thing, no Saiyaman, probably. I highly doubt it. Because, Kid Gohan, if he's brought back to life, which he probably would have been, then, why would he be doing any of this stuff? He wasn't the savior. Probably wouldn't have met Videl. Because let's face it, Hercule would have still probably taken credit but there wouldn't have been some kid, who took the win. It would have been this future guy who disappears, which he knows about.
Actually, I don't know. Why wouldn't there have been?
What, Saiyaman or him and Videl?
Why wouldn't there have been a Saiyaman?
Because...
He's still stronger than everybody else. He's still a hybrid Saiyan.
Well, he would have had less training at this point. He wouldn't have had the massive power boost of Super Saiyan 2. He wouldn't have been on level with Goku or Vegeta at this point. The potential wouldn't have been there.
Would he actually gain Super Saiyan?
Yeah, he's still got Super Saiyan.
What? Did he get Super Saiyan in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber?
They come out... Yeah, that's true.
So he wouldn't have Super Saiyan?
Yeah.
He wouldn't even be a Super Saiyan?
Yeah, there's potentially he might have unlocked it during the whole Cell Saga, but yeah, he might not have.
Yes, we might not even be Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
That's wild to think of. That we have this person who's basically Beast Gohan now, the most, according to Toriyama, has potential to be the most powerful fighter.
Yeah.
Can't even turn Super Saiyan as we approach the end of Dragon Ball Z. As we approach the final arc of Dragon Ball Z, he's not even a Super Saiyan yet.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
Let's face it, like, if that was to happen, no one would be expecting Gohan to still be the most powerful character if he just kept training at this point. Yeah. Like, no one would be thinking that. They would just think, well, this Gohan's just not very strong. He's the weak kid, the nerdy kid, and that's just how he's going to be. And people would actually accept nerdy life Gohan at that point because they'd be like, well, yeah, makes sense. Because they wouldn't have seen his potential properly.
Yeah. Gohan's defining moment was the Cell Saga.
Yeah.
It's what cemented him into people's favorites. He would not be a character favorite if it not for the Cell Saga. It's a lot of people, I'll be honest, like me, a lot of people didn't really care for him during the Saiyan Saga.
No one really cared for him in the Saiyan Saga. No. Well, before the Cell arc, no one really, let's face it, no one cared about him. No one wanted bull haircut Gohan to be the best character in the show.
Even in the Frieza Saga was exactly the same. Just ball haircut. He didn't really do much.
Yeah.
Really. He was just kind of a whiny kid. He had a couple of moments, but nothing particularly special. He started to define himself, come androids and come Cell. And he really turned up. It was when he got into his teens. And when he became an adult. Without that, everyone would have just seen more scared kid. All we would want is more cool-ass future Gohan to come back.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have probably seen that until Super.
Yeah, which is fine. And I think at that point, if he does come back again, because let's say everything does somewhat play out the same, apart from Gohan being weaker, but let's say he still meets Videl, he still has a family and all that stuff, everything's still kind of the same. He's just slightly weaker now. Let's say Gohan comes back again because of Zamasu, and this time he's got Bionic on because Bulma just makes him an on, because why not? Because, she's an inventor. He would have wiped out the androids. Things would have been kind of getting back to normal. There's time for Bulma to make Gohan a Bionic on. So he comes back, the threat's there, and then it's him, Vegeta, and Goku who go back to the future to take on Zamasu and Goku Black. So things will be different there again, because again it's kind of between Trunks and Vegeta, sort of, and the sort of light Rage Trunks.
Yeah.
None of that would have happened. The whole thing with Mai wouldn't have happened, or if it does, it would be Gohan and Mai. Which would be interesting, because it would be Gohan and Mai in the future, and it would be Videl and Gohan in the present.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets to come back to the present and see what a nerdy, non-fighting version of Gohan, how he would have turned out. And he would have seen Gohan relaxing, being smart, have a family, with his kids, and then he would compare that to his future, where yes, he's still in a relationship, but he has no life really.
See, but I don't think he'd be with Mai. I think he was like Piccolo in the future. He kept himself.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think he would just literally live by himself. He was a hermit. He was basically a hermit.
Mm.
So, but I think I would think that would be interesting though, because he would get to come see, and he would get to see his life
if there was no constant fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think would be again very interesting.
Mm.
He would get to see what like a happy version of himself.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be good, because it would make him want to fight harder.
Yeah.
Ensure that doesn't happen.
Would he be extremely disappointed that he has a kid in this version, and it's not technically his because he has no kid in his timeline?
No, I think he could just be happy that he's happy. He is happy. I think he would just look at it as in he has something that in this version, what he did with Cell and everything like that allowed for there to be a future. No, I think he would be fine with that. If it's the Gohan that like was made, I think it could be fine.
Yeah,
I can't see him settling down in this future. It's not the same character.
No, yeah, fair enough.
Trunks is full of hope and everything like that, whereas Future Gohan is just dead inside.
Yeah. I could see, like, because I know that the sword was a big factor towards the end of the saga. I could see this mechanical arm maybe having some sort of like cannon on the end for a giant blast instead. That type of thing. We can have like a giant beam coming out of his hand or whatever instead of having a sword.
They could literally do a mock of Zamasu's own attack to kill him. Zamasu's hand attack. Turn it on himself as well.
Yeah, that could work.
Which would actually be quite interesting. Basically, like using his own power against him almost. But I think it'd be hard. Although I think it would also be interesting if he used the Spirit Bomb.
Ooh, yeah.
Using his own father's attack. He's seen the Spirit Bomb be used. Although, has that version been? Yes, he would have seen it in the Saiyan Saga. So he knows what the Spirit Bomb is.
Or would this have been the time to use the special beam cannon? Probably not. I don't think he would have had the same relationship with Piccolo in this timeline.
No, he would have died much longer. He would have developed it. No, he would have. He would have, because he would have developed it a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think that he would have got all the hope and everything from seeing his other Gohan as happiness. He would have. I think so. He would have got this whole light of hope thing, the same as Trunks did, and I think he would have thought, seeing his father again and everything, I think he would have been like, right, okay, Spirit Bomb. I think he could have done it.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. Or maybe he has Trunks' sword since Trunks isn't around to get it.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I think he could have dropped the Spirit Bomb on Zamasu. I don't see it being totally unreasonable when in doubt, Spirit Bomb. And I think it would have been a nice nod. If they have to use some type of spirity thing, then I think it would have been a nice nod to see Gohan drop a Spirit Bomb.
I think so too.
Do anything like that.
Yeah, the only disappointing moment for me is that we don't see any version of Future Trunks at this point.
Yeah,
who is one of my favorite characters, which is a shame. But
you wouldn't know he existed, so you wouldn't know he's there to miss him.
We get a lot more Future Gohan instead. I do find it really interesting that he's only got one arm. Like, that's a big character thing. Like, we have no characters who get injured to the point where they don't recover. Like, and that is something. He's lost a limb. That doesn't happen. Well, I mean, it happens to Piccolo a lot, but he can grow it back, so that's fine. But, no major character who can't grow back limbs has lost a limb. So it's just a big, thing, a big difference.
I can't think of anybody.
No, no one has. Just Piccolo, he gets unlucky. Which is a good thing that he's the one who loses arms and stuff, because, no one else is growing them back.
But the thing is, I like how they incorporate it into his fighting style. It's like they do it quite well in the fight against the androids. It looks good.
I should admit, Tien does get an arm back. But that's because he dies, and then when he comes back, he's got an arm again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But it's just kind of a random chop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's but no, I think it opens up a lot of options for choreography and stuff like that. Fight choreography that would look very good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, I like his design. I think he looks great. It's why he's one of my favorite character looks. Yeah. I think he looks fantastic. But I think I wouldn't have a problem with him being replacing Future Trunks, because I'm not a fan of Z Future Trunks. I think Super salvaged him massively. I much prefer the Super Future Trunks.
Yeah.
I think less, but I think it's because I think the more I look back on Future Trunks in Z, it's because they wasted him.
I don't know.
I think towards the end of the Cell saga, he's just a background character. He's basically Tien or Yamcha by the end.
Yeah.
He's literal cannon fodder for Cell. That is the biggest contribution he has towards the end of the Cell saga. But however, then at the very, very end, they bring him back in with a vengeance, and he has one of the coolest moments he dropped one of the coolest moments in Z, where he blasts away 17 and 18 with a "This is for Gohan" quote before he blows away 17. Like, that is one of the best moments in Z, in my opinion. Like, but the thing is, like, they don't really know they can't decide whether or not they want to use him properly in Z. And I think that's a bit of a shame, because they waste him a lot in the saga, and I think that's why I'm not massively keen on him.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's my opinion. I know you love him, but I mean, that's just my opinion on him. They keep dropping him in. Like, he had this really interesting entrance, and then they just make him a background character, and then they bring him back in, and they just
Yeah, it's fine in a way, because Future Trunks doesn't get the final kill in the Cell saga, which means that Gohan still gets the shine. Whereas in this one, since Future Gohan would be getting the kill, and it weakens current Gohan, and also going forward, think of the Tournament of Power, for example. Gohan wouldn't be able to do much. Like, he is strong.
Exist.
Yes, well, superhero might exist, but he wouldn't have got the beast form, and he definitely wouldn't have been able to take on the Kamas at all. But the Tournament of Power is the main thing. Like, he was team captain because everyone knows how strong he can be, whereas this time, people don't really know his strength level. Maybe he's still only reached Super Saiyan 1. Maybe during the Buu arc, he might have unleashed Ultimate somehow, kind of, if he trained a little bit, but he wouldn't be on the same level.
Such an ass pull transformation. People would have just been very disappointed to go from not really having Super Saiyan to go into Ultimate or whatever, or Mystic. It's just like, it would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
like the Mystic. Was it Mystic? And it's like going for that far. That would have been ridiculous.
Yeah, Gohan isn't a major factor in the Buu arc, I guess, as much, but
it's more the fact that's part of his power scale. That's the important part. Is we have to understand his power. Like, a big part of him through that is not his fighting of Buu, it's his power climb. So that when he does reach it later in Super, he's not just gone from Super Saiyan 2 to get an Ultimate. There has been something in between.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't probably be there.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, in the Tournament of Power, he could have still been on the team. And there's a good chance they still might have made him team captain just for pure strategic methods. Like, because this version of Gohan would have been a lot weaker, he would have been studying a lot more, and people would have accepted that. He could have been more of a strategist to be on the team, since he is still even if he hasn't trained as much, he's like one of the only options available to have, so he would have came along. But he wouldn't have been doing anywhere near as good. So, yeah. Big changes there.
No, I think it would. I think story-wise, Trunks was the better idea. Interesting. Where there would have been interesting moments for pacing and such, and what makes sense for what we've got now, Trunks was probably the better option.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, anyway, we've talked about this long enough. Yes. So, Future Gohan would have been cool, and it would have been nice to see more of him, but overall, for the story's sake, I think it makes sense it was Trunks. But yeah, let's move on now to the Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
And now it is time for the Hall of Fame.
And now it's time once again for the Hall of Fame, where myself and Heeroh battle it out to see who is most worthy to enter this week's Hall of Fame. Last week, it was the most disappointing moment in Superhero, where myself chose the lack of Gotenks, and you, Superhero, chose the lack of Goku and Vegeta, didn't you?
Superhero now, yes, I am Super, because the winner with 85% of the vote was the lack of Goku and Vegeta in the new film. Yes.
I won't even believe it.
Well, it doesn't matter. That was my pick. And it won, which means the streak is over. We both hit 6 streaks. We're tied. We're tied on longest streak. But it has come to an end. I have a win.
Okay.
Finally. And yeah, what is the topic this week?
Yes. So, this week's topic is who deserves the next transformation?
Yeah.
Because you won, you can go first.
Yeah, so we're basing this off, Superhero has just happened, and, we have Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo now. So this was kind of like, who's next? Who deserves the next transformation? So, my pick is maybe a bit of an obvious one, potentially. I'm basing this off the story we've known and the people who are training and actually doing stuff right now. So, my pick is Broly. I think he should get the next transformation. And it's not going to be a wild transformation. It's not going to be something over the top or anything. I'm seeing this as like a controlled fury. That's what I'm gonna call it, because all these names of transformations are weird anyway. Like, who actually likes Beast Gohan? It's a bit of a weird one. Like, I was fine with Final Gohan, even though that wasn't official. But I thought, yeah, okay, that works. Even Gohan Blanco,
even though it wouldn't have been final.
Yeah,
it would have been like extreme Final Gohan after that.
Yeah, but Beast Gohan, I mean, it doesn't really make much sense either. He doesn't look like more of a beast. He's got white hair and red eyes.
Yeah.
Maybe if they made his hair look more like a mane kind of thing, or put in like sharp teeth, kind of like the Ozaru forms.
Part Ozaru or something like that.
Yeah, like give him sharpened teeth or something like that. Make him look more of a beast. Change his face shape slightly. But no, it's whatever. Anyway, not arguing that. But yeah, Broly. So we haven't seen him much in Super. He's been in one film. He's had his own film, and then he had less than 10 minutes in Superhero as well. So we haven't seen much of him. But from what we have seen, he has his base form. He can go Rage mode, where he gets the green hair and everything, which is cool. Fury mode, but he can't control it. He is unleashed power, pretty much. He doesn't listen to people. He just completely in a rage. But we did see in Superhero that he is trying, at least, to control it. He's kind of doing meditation, similar to what Jiren was doing in the Tournament of Power. He is struggling a lot because he wants to be involved in fights and he needs to just sit there, kind of channeling his anger. So, yeah, I think logically it makes sense that he is next to get a new transformation. And it might not even look similar. I mean, it might look similar. Let's put it that way. It's going to look kind of similar to Fury Broly. Except, Fury Broly, he's going all out. I think this one he's a lot more calm. He's still got the green hair, the green glow, that type of stuff. He doesn't look any different. It's kind of similar to like Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2. They don't really look different. They're just, we know they're different. So instead of just being Fury Broly, he's now controlled Broly or controlled Rage Broly, that type of thing. And yeah, we see him. He can fight slightly differently because now he can control his anger. He fights smarter now. And yeah, I think that would work. It would make sense. It counts as a different transformation, sort of, because I still think he could, even though he has this controlled rage form, he can switch back into that fury form when he gets too angry or whatever. Maybe we see a bit of a power bump, because I still think a full fury outright let's go Broly would be stronger, whereas this controlled rage, he's still stronger than his base form, of course, but he's not full anger level going all out. That makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, that's my pick. I'm going with Broly. So I'm interested to know who yours is, because to be honest, when I was thinking about characters, there was a few who came to mind, and I do have a backup which I'll talk about after your pick, because you might pick them. But yeah, so I'm interested.
I had thought. So after you, when I was thinking of mine, I thought, right, I probably lost because of your tactics. So I'm just going to go with something that I thought I want to see more than anything else. Because I could have just said, I don't know, Vegeta or finally get an ultra ego in the finally get an ego in the anime, and that would be cool. No, that's not what I want to see. What I want to see is something along the lines of we've started hearing things along the lines of characters as strong as gods of destruction and stuff like that. And I thought that's quite interesting. And we've seen Goku pushing himself and starting to get like gods, Kaioken, and everything like that. And we've seen Beerus raise his eyebrows a couple of times and getting quite annoyed. So we see the boys training quite often with Whis and everything like that. And one time, I just want to see them when they're getting ready to train, Beerus just hop up and just go, right, I'll join this time. And so he goes to train with Goku, as Goku's trying to get involved with his Ultra Instinct once again. And Beerus just manages to hop into something along the lines of Mastered Ultra Instinct. And it just turns out that behind everybody's back, he's been worried about Goku catching up. And all this time where actually they think he's been sleeping and stuff, he's actually been training with Whis because he's been worried about the catch up.
Meditating in his mind, doing those.
And yeah, because obviously it's implied that obviously Beerus can sometimes get into Ultra Instinct now and then, but he's not fully mastered it. He can only partially get into it. So he's actually been working with Whis at times and everything. And now, through all the time behind basically Goku's back and Vegeta's back and everything like that, he's actually managed to master it. And so, because we've not seen Beerus fight in so long, and I love seeing Beerus fight.
Yeah.
He's just so cocky and cool and everything like that. And to see him doing that again, especially in like proper full Ultra Instinct, he would just love it. You know, he would. Like when we see Goku in Ultra Instinct, he's like just doing his dodge and everything like that. But you know, if Beerus was doing it, he'd be having so much fun with it.
Yeah.
And I just think that'd be great, because you'd see Goku and everybody trying, and then you'd just see Beerus he'd only probably do it once just to show that he could. Yeah. So he'd just go full,
just to show off.
just full Master Ultra Instinct, just to show that he's been training and that he can actually finally access it at will, just to show that I am a god of destruction, okay? You cannot reach my level, okay? Yeah. When I want to, this is how good I can be. There is a reason I am on this level, okay? There's a reason I was chosen to do this job, okay? Know your place, okay? just because you stay and think you're strong and everything like that, you can't just train for a little while with with my angel and think you can catch me. Okay, no, right? So he puts them in their place. He puts them down, and then he just goes and has himself a sundae and a nap. And I just think that would be so cool. Seeing that, I think that would just be amazing. And then it would put to bed also all these discussions about people saying that, like, oh, now Goku's as strong as Beerus and everything like that. There's so many people that think like they're all as strong as Beerus and everything now and everything. And I just think it would be so cool for just Beerus just to show that he's Beerus.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's who he is. Because they kind of have diminished Gods of Destruction since the Tournament of Power by stating something so openly that there's a fighter who's on par of Gods of Destruction. They've took a lot away from Gods of Destruction by saying something so brazen as that. Because now it's like, oh, well, there was a fighter, aka Jiren, who's as strong as a God of Destruction. Oh, well, they beat Jiren, so that means that like Goku and that must be as strong as Gods of Destruction. So I would love to see somebody like Beerus who can just be like, right, well, when I want to, I can flex, and he can't. Because I know in the manga that he accessed Ultra Instinct partially, and he took on multiple Gods of Destruction for a little while, but he only partially accessed it. And he did get overwhelmed eventually because he couldn't do it properly. So obviously he's got some partial. So if he worked on it, he could do it. So I think it would be very cool for him to just be like, actually, look what I've been doing. I think that would be awesome for him to do that. To just be able to turn on. Plus, I think it would look, I imagine it would look like the aura and everything would look really cool on him. Because obviously his hair is not going to go silver, so everything, the aura would look very different on him.
Yeah.
I think that would just be awesome to just see him actually fully flex, because I love seeing Beerus flex. It's one of the best things ever.
Yeah, that's a solid pick, to be honest. I wasn't thinking Beerus, but yeah, it makes sense.
Just think of it, the obvious choices like Goku and Vegeta. It's like, been there, done that. Like, I just think a totally different one would be great.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking Vegeta or Goku either, just because they're always the mains. They always get new forms constantly, pretty much.
I think we need to start looking out the box, definitely, but to keep things interesting.
Yeah, so I had a few backup picks, to be honest. My first one that came to mind was Kaba, because I feel like after the Tournament of Power, we will get more story at some point where Vegeta goes to visit Kaba, and there's a solid chance that they'll do some training together, and there's a solid chance that Kaba will get to that next level, because he hasn't really done much so far. You know, he can hit it the same, but apart from that, that's kind of it. So
maybe Vegeta shows him how to do it.
I think even go one level further and give him Red God, because we know that all they need is 5 Saiyans to come together, unleash it, and since their planet hasn't been wiped out in Kaba's universe, at least anyway, there are Saiyans everywhere. They can easily get 5 Saiyans together and go, right, link arms, this is a new form, this will do you well. And he unlocks Red God, Kaba. I think that would be cool to see.
It's a weird power hype when you think about it, when they, like, Super Saiyan was locked away forever. When it's like, well, 5 Saiyans could have held hands at any point and became gods instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's never happened ever on their planet. 5 people holding hands.
Especially when they're all friends and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are other options, and I think it's more interesting to go outside the box. Like, I think Rage Broly, I think your pick is inevitable. Maybe not obviously in the way you've said, but controlled fury is going to be a thing in the anime.
Yeah,
because they're not going to not fight with him. He needs to be a fighter.
Yeah.
That's Whis' job. So he's going to be one. So yours is more an inevitability than anything else, I would say.
Yeah.
It's just when they decide to bring it in. I don't think they'll bring it in immediately, because I think they'll use him getting angry for plot.
Yeah.
For a bit first.
Yeah, me too.
But I think yours is inevitable eventually because they'll get bored of using it, or they'll assume that the audience will get bored of seeing him get angry and they'll want to see him involved in fights.
Yeah.
Mine, I just cool. If it would look cool if they did it, just as a little like. I think it would just be more of a filler flex because we'll never see him fight again. I don't think Beerus. I think it'll just be a tease that they'll always do because they could never really. I don't think they could ever really go one on toe to toe again. Goku and Beerus. I don't think it'll ever happen again.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, similar with Broly as well. Instead of Rage Broly, they could easily just make him Blue God. Why not? Like Vegeta and Goku on that level, and if Broly is training with them full time now on Beerus's planet, there's no reason to say that he couldn't also get that form, which would be interesting to see.
I think they just to give it to him. But then again, he has to be able to control it to be able to focus to get the form.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the controlled rage would happen first.
Yeah, if he can't control himself to focus, then he's not going to be able to do it. So he needs to control his mind first.
Yeah, I did have one other backup option as well, which is Frieza. And this is just because, you know, he has went golden. He's had the golden form for a while now. He came back Resurrection F, showing off that form. He had it throughout the Tournament of Power. He had it in the Broly film where he got battered by Broly and kind of just disappeared into the night again. So I think this is his time to retreat and grow.
4 months, so he could easily improve it.
Yeah, because didn't he say you only trained for like 3 months to get Golden Frieza?
Yeah.
So, I think after getting battered by Broly, he realizes, wow, okay, these monkeys are getting strong now. I need to train even harder. So he's going to go away and train for what? Maybe a year? Maybe we don't see him for a whole year. Maybe he trains that long and he unlocks an even stronger form since Frieza seemingly just has unlimited power as long as he trains. Similar to Gohan, everyone thinks, oh, if Gohan trains, he'll be the strongest guy. Frieza's also got the same trajectory, really, where if he just trains, he gets stronger and stronger. So, yeah, I could see Frieza getting another form. That'll make his, like, what, 6th form or something like that. But, you know, I think we could see it. To make Frieza an actual threat again down the line, it could happen.
I could see, like, a Cooler type one.
Yeah.
Quite, like, the bigger version of Cooler. That would be quite cool.
Yeah, I could see that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because I do like the big Cooler design. I like that. Obviously, I'm not used to big Frieza anymore. I think kind of like they've adapted to the skinny version of Frieza these days. I think people prefer it, but I think it could be interesting mix up.
Yeah,
change it up just for like a battle mode, and then he drops back down to do his mocking.
Yeah, I could see it though. I could definitely see Frieza getting a new form just so that he's relevant again. Because if he stays on that golden Frieza level, you know, we already seen him get beat by Broly pretty easily. And, you know, Goku is now Ultra Instinct. Vegeta will get Ultra Ego at some point, probably, in the anime when it comes back. Gohan now has Beast form. Piccolo has Orange form. It's like Frieza's kind of being left behind a bit now. And yes, Frieza is strong. But is Golden Frieza on level with all of these people now? Maybe he's fell behind a little bit. So I could definitely see him growing.
Yeah, I think he's not an antagonist anymore.
Yeah,
definitely not.
He hasn't been since the Frieza. So even Resurrection F, he was not a main threat, really. Kind of.
Yeah, I think the thing is, but he can't be considered because if he did show up and say like, "I'm here as the bad guys," it's like when 5 people can look at you and just say, "We could literally all deal with you if we wanted to."
Yeah.
Like, it's not an engaging story. When you need the hero to deal with the main bad guy, that's an engaging story. When you've got 5 people who could say, I could kill you, it's not an engaging story. Because it's like, oh no, they've killed our main character. Then it's like, it's okay, there are literally 4 of us that could do it. Don't worry about it.
I mean, I mentioned this a few podcasts ago now. I said if they brought Frieza back properly, this is a perfect chance to bring in Cooler as well. And have Cooler, like this is what I said. I said they should tease Cooler being the main big bad. And then Frieza just cuts him down last minute and be like, nope, you thought Cooler was strong. Well, guess what, bitches? I'm here. I'm strong. And I've got this new form. And yeah, why not? Do it like that. But yeah, those are some backup options anyway. The two main picks for the Hall of Fame is Controlled Fury Broly and Mastered Ultra Instinct Beerus.
Yep.
Those are the two forms for the Hall of Fame this week. If you want to vote, we have links in the description for our social medias. Go vote in the polls, and we'll find out next episode who enters the Hall of Fame. But for now, let's move on to the hot take.
Let's go.
Hot take.
This is the hot take, the final segment of the podcast where I have deep dived online to find some troll posts about something controversial related to Dragon Ball. And this week, I've got a bit of a juicy one because, you know, Dragon Ball has its fans across all of the different animes that have came out. Some people prefer OG Dragon Ball, some people prefer Z, GT, Kai, Super, all of them. And this one is one that I was a bit, really? About, but it's interesting anyway. So, this person has said, Super Saiyan 4 is a better looking form than any new form made in Super. Now, I think this is interesting because to me, although as a show, I didn't really like GT. I don't think the story's as good. And it can be a bit weird at times. But the form itself, Super Saiyan 4, a lot of people really like the look of the form. And to an extent, me too, I guess. I like how it goes back to the roots of the Ozaru by having the red fur and, you know, the long mane hair. I think that's cool. But there's also a lot of new forms that came around in Super. And this person thinks that Super Saiyan 4 is a better looking form than any new form made in Super. So that includes Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Mastered Ultra Instinct. I guess you can count Beast Gohan since that's technically Super, Orange Piccolo. Is there any other new forms that came around? Rage Trunks. Goku Black Rose. Is that it? I think that's probably about it. I can't think of any other new forms. Golden Frieza?
I mean, can you class Fusion Zamasu as well?
I guess so.
Or is that more that? No,
that's more than...
No, it's just a Zamasu amalgamation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not intentional.
I think that's all of them, though. Yeah.
What do you think?
What do I think? Well,
How do you look at forms?
Yeah, because I do kind of like the look of Super Saiyan 4. I like the uniqueness of it, and I get it as a form. And I think out of all of the things that happen in GT, that form, the look of the form was a positive of the show. Whether you like the story or not, the actual look of the form is cool.
I would probably say it's one of the best things to come out of GT. Yeah, I would argue.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if they were
not
to make...
Not necessarily where it came from.
Oh, yeah, no.
But the look of the look of it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Just the actual look of it itself.
Yeah.
And I think that if anything was to be made canon from GT, that Super Saiyan 4 is something that can work. And I've mentioned it before on a previous podcast, but I think that if anyone was to get it, Broly would be a perfect choice to get it, because his rage mode already kind of brings out a bit of the beast in him. And I guess now with this Gohan, even though it's Gohan Beast, wouldn't it have been cooler just to make him look a bit more like a beast? And if he had, like, imagine if he had that silvery white hair, but it was like basically a Super Saiyan 4 transformation, you know, he had more of the fur as well. He still had the red eyes, he still had the silver hair, but he kind of had that fur and the tail. I think, like, a
mixture. He had a tail previously.
Yeah. If he had a mixture of his new form plus Super Saiyan 4 together, I think that would be really cool. It would work.
I think
for that.
I mean, we've again discussed previously this, like Super Saiyan 4, that we don't think it would work with Goku and Vegeta and everything like that, and how God came in. It doesn't link in with them anymore. It's redundant. It doesn't canonically fit in. Like, from a story perspective, it just wouldn't fit with them anymore.
Yeah, it would be a downgrade from what they've already achieved now.
Yeah, and it would just be weird. But for people like Broly and Gohan Beast, or Beast Gohan, whatever, it ties in better with the look, and would make more sense because they don't have God Ki necessarily. So it works.
Yeah, especially with Gohan, like, even though he has this form, people assume that that's it. You know, like, he's mastered it, that's it, done. And anytime he wants to fight, he'll just turn into this Beast Gohan now. But let's say the potential of that form hasn't been reached yet, because it is brand new. He wasn't at full strength when he got it, you know, he hadn't been training or anything. So let's say if he actually knuckles down and trains and practices this new form, he's got like a mastered beast form. And then that is kind of like the Super Saiyan 4 thing that we just mentioned, where he does look like more of a beast. You know, he's got the sharpened teeth, the longer hair, the fur potentially, that type of thing. It's like the next level for Gohan, and I think that would make sense. Because Gohan's kind of plateaued now. He has this new form, and yes, it's great, and yes, it's extremely powerful. But it's still a new form that he's used once, and he doesn't know much about it, and he was untrained when using it. So they can easily give him a next level.
And he didn't really do anything with it for the most part. Yeah. When Gohan turned Super Saiyan 2 against Cell, we saw so much of it. Like, we saw him fighting with it, we saw him battling with it, we saw beam battles, we saw everything. And I get that it's a film, obviously, and he turned, but all he really did is caught a punch and did a special beam cannon. And even the special beam cannon, somebody else was holding him. Piccolo was holding the bad guy. So we didn't really see anything of it other than it's a really powerful blast. And he has a lot of strength. It doesn't really show us his speed. It doesn't show us his martial abilities based on it. It doesn't show us anything. It just shows that he has a lot of energy and he has a lot of strength. That's literally all we know about that form. Nothing else. And we cannot say anything else, because that is all he did. Like, that's all he did. It's all we saw in the film. So it's as simple as that. And like, obviously, if someone said something in interviews, writers, Toriyama said something outside of interviews to confirm it canonically, from what you've seen in the film, that's all you know. When something's been confirmed in interviews outside, that's all you know. That he's strong and he has a lot of energy. And so he has, again, he needs to train to make that better, and this is where you get the opportunities to evolve that. And so we know with Orange Piccolo that we know he's going to train, we know he's going to make Orange better, we know he's going to improve it. And I think, so I think there is the opportunity to evolve it. And I think that would be an opportunity to do that.
And I think it would work well. But I guess going back to the actual question, does the form itself of Super Saiyan 4 look better? So let's compare to Orange Piccolo first. Does Super Saiyan 4 as a form look better than Orange Piccolo? So I guess we're comparing this to Goku. His transformation to Super Saiyan 4 is a big change, with the fur, with the hairstyle, with the the red eye line, like underneath the eyes, that type of thing, the sharpened teeth. Is that a better looking transformation than Piccolo turning from green to orange and being slightly bigger? I think yes. I think Super Saiyan 4
basically he's just orange Brock Lesnar with like there's nothing really particularly special about the change in Orange Piccolo, really. If we're going to be honest. A lot of the awe about it is the fact that Piccolo hasn't had a transformation so long, and we're just very happy that he's had it, and that he's finally getting some hype, and he's finally getting his dues. Piccolo's paid his dues, it's time he got it.
Yeah.
And he's getting it, and everyone's happy.
Mm-hmm.
But the look of the transformation, the transformation was very cool.
Mm.
But the look, it doesn't really look that different other than he's bulky and orange.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree that SS4 is better.
Yeah, so now let's compare to Beast Gohan, because we've said numerous times now, the hair is ridiculous. Like, the spiked back hair, I'm not a fan. You're not really a fan either.
I thought it was really cool when it first saw it, because it was like, oh, they kept the cool flick from Super Saiyan 2, and then they showed the full size of the head, and I was like, what have you done?
Yeah, it looks ridiculous. It's too big. Like, they didn't need to make it that big, and they have, which kind of ruins it. Apart from that, though, the red eyes looks cool. That's kind of the only real difference. Yeah. So as a power-up, it looks cool how he transforms into it. But as a full look, I've got to say that Super Saiyan 4 still looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Next up, let's say Golden Frieza. This is a tough one because Frieza's transformation into Golden Frieza is great. And
the transformation itself is interesting.
Yeah, and the look of it is different enough to stand out. And it's a different enough form where it makes a difference, similar to Super Saiyan 4, I guess, in a way.
However, I would argue that it's just a skin recolor.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's... No, I think in essence, it is just his final form recolored.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I think it's not enough of a change for it to warrant beating SS4.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Because otherwise you'd call it something other than Golden Frieza, really.
Yeah, and he even said he got it just because of the Super Saiyan transformation with their hair turning gold. He was like, well, I can turn gold too. And that was it, really. But yeah, it is just a part swap, pretty much. Yeah. Next, Rage Trunks. It's kind of new, but it's basically just Super Saiyan plus a blue glow.
Yeah.
So not much difference there. I've still got to give it a Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's knockoff Goku because it's not even Goku. It's like, it's basically all they've done is they've seen, like, people seem to like blue, so we'll add some blue. It's not even Goku, so it's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to skip one because we'll come back to it in a second. But first, let's say Blue God. Is Blue God better than Super Saiyan 4? As a look. I'm going to say no still. I think Super Saiyan 4 looks better than Blue God.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because it's just a change of hair colour of Super Saiyan.
Yeah. And yeah, it is a disappointment. It is just blue hair instead of gold or whatever. And that's it. Their body doesn't change in any way. They still look the same. They're just blue hair now instead. So going back a step, Red God. Is Red God, skinny form God, better than Super Saiyan 4?
I don't know, I like red.
I also like red. And I'm going to say Red God is better than Super Saiyan 4.
Oof. I think they've always done red dirty. I think there's just a lean effect that they've always had with red that just I've always really liked.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yes, I appreciate that there's a lot more detail to Super Saiyan 4. I appreciate that. I'm not going to say there's not, but whenever I see red animated, I just think it's very clean.
Yeah.
I think it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
When I see him in the Broly fights, when I saw him in Resurrection F and everything like that, when Goku's looking like he's got the lean, he looks a lot skinnier, leaner. I just think it looks great.
Yeah.
I love that. I prefer it.
Yeah, I love that as well, just because every form, either you see them bulk up or get a change of hair, but their body stays the same and they're always muscular. Whereas with Red God, it's the opposite. They slim down, their muscle mass decreases, and yeah, they get the hair change color as well, which is great. I just think they skipped over it way too quickly. Like, we got that form and then it was straight like, okay, we have that. Yep, now let's do blue straight away. And we don't see enough of red. And it's a shame because it is unique. Because we never ever see forms where they slim down. Never.
Yeah.
and I really like that. It was a change, a welcome change to what was expected. So I really like that. So
everyone, it's just everything's just bigger muscles and everything like that. So for them to actually go in a different direction was nice.
Yeah, like they even slimmed down the face as well. The face shape completely changed as well as the body shape. So yeah, I kind of really like it. I think it's a better look than Super Saiyan 4.
And I know it seems like a minor thing, but I just think it with the animation style of Super, it works. I mean, people could argue that in the animation styles of Z or GT, with the way they're animated, it might not work, but you have to use it in the show that it's being used in, because you could then argue that, like, depending on what show you're using it in, it doesn't work as well. Well, I'm seeing Red God in Super, and it's clean, and I like it. It looks fantastic in Broly as well, especially. It's fantastic, especially when he's like using the paralysis on Broly. It looks fantastic when he's using that attack, and he's just trying to talk to Broly. How slim down he is, just talking, trying to stay calm. I just think he looks fantastic.
Yeah. Me too.
I love it.
I completely agree. So that's 1 point to Super, at least. Moving on next is Rage Broly, from normal to Rage mode. So that's a bit of a difference. We see Broly become a lot buffer. He's got the green hair, the green glow. Is that a better form than Super Saiyan 4?
I love Broly so much more.
Yeah.
Broly is. I just think he looks absolutely fantastic, especially when he going through the transformation, like everything about it. I just think he looks fantastic. Yeah. You can argue that's the animation itself or what, because Broly is so well animated. It's the best animation Dragon Ball's ever done, in my eyes. Regardless of whether or not you like the CG version of Superhero or what.
I'd also agree. The Broly film was the best animation.
I will die on the hill of Broly being the best animated Dragon Ball film. Dragon Ball anything. But Broly just looked fantastic. And every change he went through, he just looked fantastic. And I think Broly looks the best transformation. He beats SS4 out.
I would even argue that original Broly, going from skinny, lean Broly into giant Broly, is also better than Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah. It's just the way, the way he dresses and everything as well. I think I like his outfit and everything. I just think he looks good. Yeah. But it's his anger, like his eyes changing and everything, as you can see it. And everything about him, it's just his slow change. The fact that it's not immediate as well. I like that. It's not just like towards the end where he's getting super angry as Gogeta's beating him up. Like it's at the start as well, where he's fighting Vegeta. Like even then, you can see the changes happening. Like I think even then, like I think he looks better.
No, I agree. I think Broly's another one where they did it right, and the transformation is definitely better than Super Saiyan 4. And finally, I'm pretty sure, because I can't think of any other transformations that happen in Super, we have Master Ultra Instinct. Is that better than Super Saiyan 4? Yeah.
Probably.
I agree too. That was the one moment that all of Super where I was like, with all the transformations that happen, they're pretty cool and stuff. But that was the one where I was like, oh, okay, this is good. This is business right here. The white hair, like I really, really like the look of the pure white hair. I think it works really well. The white eyes as well. I really like the look.
But they use it well as well. They know how to use it properly.
Yeah.
They've used it very well. They haven't overused it, I don't think, either yet.
No, not yet.
Like even in the Broly film, they didn't use it. They teased it. They definitely teased it. I think when he went to change to blue, they dropped in like color changes, I think. And like, but they didn't use it. And I thought it was good that they didn't use it. I hadn't done it, but the original transformation as well, especially, it's like chills.
Yeah.
I just think it's a fantastic one. No, I don't know how you can compare the two, really. I think Ultra Instinct beats it out.
Yeah. So I guess we just named 3 that we think are better. So Red Guard, Broly, and Master Ultra Instinct.
Well, there's Rose as well.
Oh yeah, Rose as well. I do like Rose. I like the pink, but overall, it is just a hair change color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it is. I mean, it looks fantastic. I love the look, but I think saying that, I like it more, but that's just me personally. I think on a whole, you would have to give it to SS4 through a design standpoint. Yeah. My bias lies in the fact that I just really like Goku Black, but I can appreciate the design of Super Saiyan 4 enough to say that I know it's better. I just like Goku Black more. That I would say I prefer it. Yeah. No, but I would give it to SS4, but I just prefer Goku Black.
Yeah, so. I mean, I prefer Goku Black as well. I don't really like much of GT at all, but yeah, I do think that the design of Super Saiyan 4 and the change, like the form change, is definitely better for Super Saiyan 4. Because with Goku Black, they could have went any color. They could have decided just to go Super Saiyan and it would have looked the same, just a different color, or even God or anything. It would have just been the same, just a different color. So yeah, the form itself.
I think it was a good choice.
Yeah, I think it was a good choice to go something different. Yeah. But also, it's nothing special, really. It's just a color change. So yeah, Super Saiyan 4, great form, looks good. It's definitely better than some forms that happened in Super, but I think we both agree that there is definitely some forms in Super that are better, that look better. But there's definitely a place for Super Saiyan 4, and they could potentially bring it in if they wanted to. They've just got to work it right and give it to the right people, being either Gohan or Broly, I guess. But yeah, I think that's it. We're in agreement. This isn't a horrible take, but you know, there is definitely some that can be argued are definitely better than Super Saiyan 4. And that's how we're going to wrap up this podcast. So, yeah, it's been a good one. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, leave some comments down below about what you think. Like up the video, subscribe down below, leave some comments, and go vote on the polls for the Hall of Fame. And other than that, we will see you all next time.
Yeah.